Maris lived in the quiet village of Thimblecross, a place where cobblestone streets wound like gentle rivers and lanterns glowed golden at dusk. By day, she appeared to be nothing more than a tailor, her hands busy with cloth and thread. But at night, her true gift awakened. Her silver needle glimmered with a magic passed down from her grandmother. When Maris sewed, her stitches held whispers, fragments of dreams left behind in pillows, in lullabies, in sighs of hope. She stitched them into shawls for weary mothers, who found renewed courage in their arms. She wove them into scarves for children, who wore them and dreamed of bright futures even when skies were gray. The villagers adored her, though few knew the true depth of her magic. They simply said, "Maris's clothes make you feel lighter, as if you can walk into tomorrow with a steadier step." But one night, as Maris stitched under the moon, she felt her needle falter. The thread dimmed, her hands grew heavy. And then, she heard it. A shattering, faint but chilling, as if glass streams were breaking across the sky. Maris looked out her window. The stars seemed dimmer. A strange hush fell over the village. Something unseen was stealing dreams away. Her heart tightened. She whispered, "If dreams are breaking, then I must sew them back together." And with her glowing needle, she prepared for a journey she had never taken before. The night after the stars cracked, Maris could not sleep. She sat by her window, her silver needle resting in her lap, staring into the uneasy darkness. The silence outside was not the peaceful hush she knew, it was hollow, as though the world was holding its breath. Then came a flutter. A soft wingbeat brushed against her candle flame, and a pale moth drifted into her shop. Its wings shimmered with faint threads of silver, but some were frayed and broken, dangling like torn ribbons. The creature landed gently on Maris's sewing table. "Who are you?" Maris whispered. The moth's wings trembled, and to her astonishment, it spoke in a thin, sorrowful voice. "I am Nivril, keeper of lost threads. Every dream has a thread, every hope a fiber in the tapestry of the night. But something has begun to cut them away. I carry what remains, yet I am unraveling." Maris leaned closer, heart pounding. She saw that the frayed threads trailing from Nivril's wings glowed faintly, like fragments of dreams she recognized, an unfinished lullaby, a child's wish for tomorrow, a mother's prayer. "What is stealing them?" she asked softly. The moth flickered in the candlelight, weary. "The hollow weaver," it replied. "A shadow that feeds on broken promises and forgotten hopes. It unravels dreams, leaving only silence. If it grows stronger, the night will lose its stars forever." Maris pressed her hand to her chest. The shattering sound she had heard, it was true. Dreams were breaking. "What can I do?" Nibril's eyes gleamed like tiny beads of starlight. "You hold a needle that can mend what is torn. But you must travel into the dreaming roads, paths hidden from waking eyes. There, you will find the unraveling and stitch it closed before all is lost." Maris's silver thread glowed faintly in her hand, as though answering the moth's plea. Fear whispered at her edges, but she tightened her grip. "I will go," she said firmly. The moth spread its damaged wings and bowed its head. "Then I will guide you, Tailor of Dreams. But beware, the hollow weaver is not merely shadow. It knows the fears that lie in every heart. Even yours." And with that, the candle flame flickered, and the air shimmered with silver threads forming a path beyond her door, glowing strands leading into the unknown. Maris took a breath, packed her needle, and stepped forward into the dreaming roads. Maris followed the silver strands that unrolled before her like a glowing ribbon. Each step carried her further from the familiar cobblestones of Thimblecross and deeper into a world that shimmered between waking and dreaming. The dreaming roads stretched wide and endless, though no map could contain them. Paths twisted into arches of light, stairways spiraled up into star-cloaked skies, and bridges of glass stretched across rivers made of reflected memories. At first, Maris felt wonder. Each step seemed to hum with possibility, like walking inside the heart of a lullaby. She saw dreams drifting in the air, tiny glowing orbs that flickered with visions of children laughing, gardens blooming, ships sailing safely home. But then, the shadows appeared. At the edges of the paths, Maris glimpsed frayed threads unraveling into nothingness. Dreams turned gray and cracked, dissolving into silence. The moth, Nivril, fluttered beside her, its torn wings shimmering faintly. "The weaver has been here," Nivril said gravely. Every place where the threads are broken, a dream has been devoured. The roads grow weaker each night. Maris clutched her silver needle. Can they be repaired? Yes, said the moth. But not without courage. You must face what is fraying them. The weaver spins lies and fears into snares. It will try to make you believe you are powerless. Only your needle and your heart can resist. They came upon a bridge of cracked crystal, stretching across a chasm of swirling darkness. The strands that formed the bridge were unraveling, threads snapping one by one. On the other side, faint shapes of dreams shimmered, clinging desperately to what remained. Maris's hands trembled. If I fall, you must not think of falling, Nivril interrupted. Think of stitching. So Maris stepped forward. She knelt on the breaking bridge, threaded her needle, and began sewing the cracks closed. Her silver thread hummed with light, each stitch drawing strength from her determination. Slowly, the bridge steadied beneath her. When she reached the other side, the air filled with soft whispers of gratitude. The dreams that had been fading glowed brighter, saved from vanishing. Maris stood tall, breathless but braver than before. For the first time, she realized, her gift was not only for her village. It was for the whole tapestry of the world. But Nivril's wings dimmed as he whispered, the hollow weaver will sense what you've done. The further we walk, the closer it comes. Maris tightened her grip on the needle and stepped forward into the shifting roads, knowing her true journey had only begun. The dreaming roads carried Maris and Nivril to a place where the sky itself seemed to open like a vast curtain. Here, the air shimmered with threads of every color imaginable, gold, silver, sapphire, emerald, and crimson, all stretched across an endless loom that filled the heavens. The loom of stars. It stood taller than mountains, larger than kingdoms, its beams carved from light itself. Each thread upon it glowed with a living pulse, weaving together the countless dreams of the world. Maris gazed upward, her breath stolen. Every dream is a thread. Yes, Nivril whispered, wings trembling reverently. Every hope, every song, every whisper of love and courage, woven here. This is the tapestry of all dreaming. But as they drew closer, Maris's awe turned to sorrow. Parts of the loom sagged where threads had been cut. Whole patches of the tapestry were frayed, threads dangling loose into nothingness. Empty spaces gaped like wounds. And then she saw her own village. A patch of fabric in soft greens and gentle blues, embroidered with the laughter of children and the glow of lanterns at night. But around it, darkness gnawed at the edges, unraveling. Maris's heart clenched. If the weaver keeps cutting, my home will vanish too. A soft voice rose from the loom. You are not the first to come here, Tailor. But you may be the last who dares to mend. A figure stepped out from the glowing strands, a woman robed in constellations, her hair flowing like liquid night, her hands forever weaving. Her eyes sparkled like twin galaxies. I am Serapha, the weaver of stars, she said. This loom is my charge. Yet the hollow weaver has grown powerful, feeding on despair. I cannot stop it alone. Maris bowed her head, holding up her needle. Then I will help. Teach me how to stitch what has been lost. Serapha's smile was faint but kind. She held out a thread spun from pure starlight and placed it in Maris's hands. This is no ordinary thread. It will draw from your own courage and belief. But remember, each stitch you make will also test you. To sew with light is to face your shadows. Maris swallowed hard, feeling the thread warm in her palm. I am ready. Together, she and Serapha began weaving torn strands back into the loom. With every stitch, Maris felt the dreams of strangers brushing against her heart, a sailor's longing to return home, a child's wish for a friend, an elder's prayer for peace. It was overwhelming, yet beautiful. But just as the tapestry began to glow stronger, the loom trembled violently. Shadows crept between the threads, dark tendrils clawing at the weave. A cold whisper spread through the air. You cannot mend what was meant to be broken. The hollow weaver had sensed them. Maris gripped her silver needle tightly, refusing to let fear loose in her hand. For the first time, she realized her true task. She was not only mending fabric. She was stitching hope into the very sky. After her time at the loom of stars, Maris's silver needle thrummed with a new strength, but her heart carried a weight heavier than before. Serapha warned her, to defeat the hollow weaver, you must restore the dreams already lost. Seek those whose hearts have fallen silent, for they are the weaver's strongest foothold. With Nibrel guiding her, Maris followed a fading silver thread that led down from the celestial loom, through spiraling stairways of light, and into a forgotten kingdom cloaked in grey mist. The land was silent. No laughter, no music, no dreams stirred the air. The villagers moved like shadows, eyes dim, voices flat, as if all color had been drained from their souls. At the center of the silent kingdom stood a vast stone palace. Inside sat a king upon a crumbling throne, his crown dull, his robes heavy with dust. His eyes were hollow, fixed on nothing. "This is King Kalen," Nivril whispered softly. "Once a dreamer who built this kingdom upon songs and visions. But the hollow weaver stole his heart's thread, leaving him unable to dream." Maris approached the throne. She knelt respectfully and said, "Your Majesty, I am Maris, Tailor of Dreams. I have come to stitch what was broken." The king's gaze flickered but quickly dimmed again. "Dreams or illusions," he muttered. "I once dreamed of a kingdom of joy, yet sorrow came. I dreamed of peace, yet war followed. What use are dreams but to disappoint?" His words struck Maris like icy wind. For a moment, doubts stirred within her. What if he is right? What if dreams only lead to heartbreak? But then she remembered the bridge she had mended, the tapestry glowing beneath her needle, and the warmth of her village's laughter. Dreams weren't empty, they were seeds of courage, even in hardship. She reached into her satchel and pulled out a scrap of fabric glowing faintly, a child's laughter she had stitched into a scarf long ago. She began sewing, her silver thread spinning softly through the air. As she stitched, an image began to appear, a cloak of deep blue, shimmering with stars. She draped it over the king's shoulders. At first, nothing happened. Then, the cloak began to glow faintly. The king's eyes widened as memories flickered back. His boyhood dream of planting orchards across the land, his hope to build a hall of music, his longing to see his people smile. Tears slid down his worn face. "I remember. I dreamed once. And it was beautiful." The gray mist around the palace began to lift. Villagers blinked as if waking from long sleep, color slowly seeping back into their cheeks. But then, a shadow hissed through the throne room, curling against the stone walls. A whisper slithered through the air. "You cannot hold them, they will forget again, they always do." Maris held her needle tightly and spoke with steady voice. "Maybe they will forget, but as long as I live, I will keep stitching dreams back together." The shadow recoiled but did not vanish. Nibrel trembled on her shoulder. "The hollow weaver grows restless. We must keep moving before it strikes." The king stood, taller than before, his voice stronger. "Go, Tailor of Dreams. You have given me back my heart. I will keep dreaming, for my people, and for you." Maris bowed, her courage brighter than ever. For the first time, she understood. Restoring dreams was not only about stitching, it was about reminding hearts to believe again. Leaving the kingdom behind, Maris followed Nibrel into the dreaming roads once more. The silver strands beneath her feet curved downward into a vast, shadowy woodland. The air grew thick with silence, and the trees towered high, gnarled branches heavy with tangled threads that shimmered faintly, as though hundreds of wishes had been caught in their boughs and left to rot. "This is the forest of forgotten wishes," Nibrel said quietly. "Every thread here belonged to a dream once whispered, then abandoned. Each tree holds what someone gave up on." The sight filled Maris with sorrow. Threads hung limp, coated in dust, threads of children who stopped believing in flying, of lovers who gave up on forgiveness, of travelers who lost their courage to journey. The forest pulsed with a heavy sadness, as though every forgotten dream weighed down the air itself. Maris placed her hand on one of the threads. A vision flickered, a girl who once wished to paint the sea but had hidden her brushes away. The thread snapped with a brittle sound, dissolving into nothing. Nibrel shivered. The hollow weaver feeds here most greedily. Forgotten wishes are the easiest for it to claim. Maris's silver needle glowed softly in her hand. "Then I will not let them vanish." She began to stitch, sewing threads of forgotten wishes together into a tapestry of possibility. As she worked, whispers echoed through the forest. Ghostly voices murmured, "Why bother? No one remembers us, no one cares anymore." Her heart ached. Some wishes were so small: a friend to laugh with, a letter never sent, a journey never taken. How could she restore them all? But then she remembered her grandmother's words: a stitch need not be perfect to be strong. Even a patch can hold a dream together. So Maris stitched not every thread, but enough. She wove a shawl from forgotten wishes, each fragment glowing faintly with hope. When she draped it around her shoulders, the forest stirred. The trees began to shimmer. Threads untangled, releasing small sparks of light. From the shadows, faint figures emerged: children, elders, lovers, travelers, all smiling faintly, their wishes remembered if only for a moment. The forest filled with color, soft and shimmering like dawn light filtering through leaves. Forgotten did not mean gone, it meant waiting to be remembered. But just as the light grew, a harsh wind ripped through the forest. Black strands lashed out from the roots, wrapping around trees, trying to choke them. Nivril cried, "The hollow weaver comes closer. It will not allow forgotten wishes to rise again." Maris held the glowing shawl tightly. Fear clawed at her, but she lifted her chin and whispered, "Even forgotten, they are worth remembering." The forest glowed brighter in answer, resisting the weaver's grip. For now, the wishes were safe. Maris pressed forward, her path growing harder, but her resolve burning stronger. The dreaming roads twisted sharply after the forest, leading Maris and Nivril into a valley where no stars shone. The ground was smooth as glass, reflecting only shadows. At the center stood a tall, cracked mirror framed in black iron, its surface rippling like liquid silver. Nivril's wings quivered. This is the mirror of doubted dreams. All who pass must face their own fears before continuing. The hollow weaver forged it to snare hearts with doubt. Maris felt her pulse quicken. She had faced broken bridges, forgotten wishes, and even a king's despair. But the thought of seeing her own fears reflected frightened her most of all. Still, she stepped forward. The mirror shimmered and cleared. At first, Maris saw only herself, her dark hair, her determined eyes, her silver needle in hand. But then the reflection shifted. She saw a Maris bent over her work, sewing tirelessly, yet no one came. The villagers passed her by, her shop forgotten, her dream dismissed as foolish. "Your stitches do not matter," the reflection whispered. "What are dreams but thread and cloth? You cannot change the world." Maris's chest tightened. The voice was cruelly familiar, her own late-night doubts, the fear that her gift was too small to matter. The reflection shifted again. Now she saw herself standing at the loom of stars, sewing desperately, but each stitch unraveled instantly. The threads dissolved, slipping from her hands. Behind her, the hollow weaver laughed, its shadow blotting out the sky. "You are powerless. You cannot hold together what will always fall apart." Maris fell to her knees, trembling. For a moment, she almost believed it. But then, she remembered the bridge of dreams she had saved, the king's eyes brightening as he wore the cloak, the forest glowing with remembered wishes. None of those had been illusions. Each had mattered, even if only for a moment. She stood tall, gripping her needle. "Maybe I cannot sew every dream. Maybe I cannot stop every unraveling. But each stitch I make does matter. And that is enough." The mirror cracked. Her reflection's mocking voice silenced. The shards dissolved into silver dust that scattered into the air like stars. Nivril let out a sigh of relief. "You have passed. Few can stand before their own doubts and remain unbroken." Maris's shoulders shook, but she held her chin high. "The hollow weaver may know my fears, but I will not let them bind me." The road ahead shimmered faintly with light. And for the first time, Maris felt not just brave, but truly free. The dreaming roads widened into an open expanse, a boundless sky stretched above and below, as if Maris were walking across the edge of the universe itself. Stars shimmered faintly in the distance, but many had gone dark, their places marked by hollow voids. In the middle of this cosmic span, Maris felt her silver needle grow warm in her hand. The thread pulsed with a brighter glow than ever before. Nivril fluttered close, eyes reflecting starlight. "This is the place where your needle was born," the moth whispered reverently. "Forged from the first thread of dreaming, gifted to your grandmother long ago. It carries more than silver, it carries the heart of the night sky." Maris looked down at the glowing needle, awed. All along her journey she had relied on it without fully understanding. Now, it pulsed with a strength she hadn't yet called upon. As she gazed upward, the stars above flickered. One after another, dark rifts tore across the sky, threads snapping. The hollow weaver's work was spreading. "I have to mend them," Maris breathed. She threaded her needle with the luminous strand Serapha had given her and lifted it toward the sky. The thread arced upward like lightning, connecting to a broken star. Carefully, she stitched the torn light back into place. As the star reignited, the whole sky shimmered in response. Whispers filled the air, thankful voices, laughter, prayers, hopes, echoes of dreams stitched into the night itself. Maris's heart swelled. With each stitch, she felt stronger. She mended one star, then another, her hands steady, her spirit burning bright. But suddenly, the void stirred. A deep hiss rattled through the air, and black threads lashed out, striking at her hands. Her needle slipped, the silver thread nearly snapping. From the darkness, a voice growled. "You cannot sew what was meant to unravel. Dreams are fragile, let them fall." Maris clenched her teeth, refusing to falter. "If dreams are fragile, then they need protecting all the more. And I will keep stitching them, no matter how many times they tear." Her words lit the needle like fire. The thread blazed, brighter than any star. With renewed strength, she sewed a seam so wide it bridged the void itself, tying the stars together with light. The night sky glowed with a renewed brilliance, colors cascading like an aurora across the roads. For the first time since her journey began, Maris felt the weaver recoil, its presence shrinking back into the shadows. Nibril's wings shimmered faintly as he whispered, "You have touched the true power of your gift. You are not merely a tailor of cloth, Maris, you are a mender of the world's heart." Maris lowered her glowing needle, her breath heavy but steady. She knew the hollow weaver had not been defeated yet. But now she held the strength to face it. The dreaming roads narrowed into silence. The silver threads beneath Maris's feet grew thin, fraying, until at last they ended at the edge of a vast abyss. Above and around her stretched a monstrous web. Its strands were not silver but black as ink, gleaming with a sickly sheen. It spanned the sky like a net, strangling the light of stars behind it. Tangled within were dreams, once bright orbs now dulled and dim, writhing helplessly in sticky shadow. Nibril's wings trembled. "This is the hollow weaver's web. Every stolen dream is bound here. If it is not broken soon, the tapestry of all dreams will unravel." Maris tightened her grip on her needle. Her heart pounded, but she stepped forward. From the darkness, a figure unfurled. The hollow weaver. It was neither man nor beast but a shifting shadow with many arms like threads of smoke, weaving endlessly. Its face was masked in emptiness, and its voice echoed like 1,000 whispers at once. "So the little tailor comes. You stitch and stitch, yet still they fray. Did you believe you could stop me?" Maris lifted her chin. "I can try." The weaver laughed, the sound like unraveling fabric. "Dreams are fragile. They break. They disappoint. They are forgotten. I am only truth, truth that nothing lasts." Its black strands lashed outward, wrapping around Maris's arms and legs, trying to pull her into the web. For a moment, her needle slipped from her grasp. Doubt flickered in her chest again. But she remembered the king's eyes lighting up, the forest glowing, the stars reigniting under her stitches. Fragile or not, those moments mattered. Each one had been a light against the dark. Maris wrenched free, clutching her glowing needle. Her voice rang steady. "Dreams may be fragile, but they are worth protecting. And they do last, as long as someone remembers them." With that, she stabbed her silver needle into the web and pulled. The starlight thread in her hand seared through the black strands. The web shook violently, the hollow weaver shrieking as light tore through its darkness. Dreams trapped within the web began to glow again, children's laughter, lovers' promises, voices of hope, all flickering like fireflies. The weaver roared, lashing out with all its shadowed arms, but Maris stitched faster, weaving light into the holes. Each stitch weakened the web, until the vast net began to collapse, unraveling into dust. The hollow weaver howled as its form splintered, breaking apart into fading wisps of shadow. Its final whisper hissed, "They will forget, and I will return." Then it was gone. Maris fell to her knees, breathless, her silver thread glowing faintly in her lap. Around her, the freed dreams lifted like lanterns, drifting back into the sky. The stars blazed brighter than before, each carrying a whisper of thanks. Nibrel landed gently on her shoulder, weary but glowing. You have done what no one has before. The weaver has been broken. For now, the night is safe. Maris closed her eyes, exhaustion washing over her. Yet in her heart, a quiet fire burned. The weaver might one day return, but so would she. And she would always be ready to stitch the world back together. The hollow weaver's web had unraveled, and the stars shone brighter than Maris had ever seen. Freed dreams drifted upward like a river of light, returning to the tapestry of the night. The dreaming roads glowed with renewed strength, as if the world itself was exhaling relief. Maris stood quietly, silver needle warm in her hand. Nibrel fluttered weakly onto her shoulder, his tattered wings now glowing faintly, threads of light returning where shadows had once frayed him. You did it, the moth whispered, voice trembling with awe. The weaver is gone, for now. You have mended more than threads. You've reminded the world to dream again. Maris looked out across the sky. For the first time, she realized that her journey was not just about saving others, it had been about saving herself. She had faced despair, doubt, and shadow. And yet, she was still standing, her heart stitched with courage. The dreaming roads shifted, curling gently back toward her village. She followed them home, carrying her glowing needle close to her heart. When she stepped into her little shop in Thimblecross, dawn was breaking. Golden light poured across her shelves of fabric, mingling with the faint silver glow of her thread. Villagers gathered outside, their faces brighter than before, their voices carrying laughter again. Children ran to her, tugging at her skirts. Maris, I dreamed of flying again. A mother clasped her hands. I found the courage to sing to my baby last night. An old man smiled through tears. I dreamed of my youth. Thank you. Maris's eyes filled with warmth. They had not forgotten. The weaver had failed. She sat at her workbench once more, candle glowing at her side. With her silver needle, she stitched a cloak from threads she had gathered along her journey. Bridges mended, stars rekindled, wishes remembered, doubts overcome. It was not perfect. The seams were uneven, the patches mismatched. But it was beautiful, because it carried the heart of every dream she had saved. When she draped it around her shoulders, she felt her grandmother's voice echo softly in her memory. A stitch need not be perfect to be strong. What matters is that it holds. Maris smiled. She was no longer just a seamstress of cloth. She was the tailor of dreams, one who stitched hope into the world, one stitch at a time. And though the hollow weaver's whisper lingered faintly in the winds, Maris knew this truth. As long as someone dares to dream, there will always be a tailor to mend what is broken. Glowing star moral lesson. Dreams may be fragile, forgotten, or doubted, but each one carries power. Even the smallest hope, the faintest wish, can light a path forward. Maris's journey reminds us that no dream is too small to matter, no stitch too humble to heal. We may not mend the whole world at once, but with courage, patience, and belief, we can stitch hope back together, thread by thread, moment by moment. Sparkles for as long as we dare to dream, the light will never be lost. For more motivation fairy tale stories, please like, share and subscribe this channel. Thanks and God bless.